Professor Ayman Al-Rafai, President-elect of IEEE Industry Applications USA, to take the honored seat at the stage. I would like to invite Minister of State for Education, Dr. Abdullah Rashid Ahmed, to take the honored seat at the stage. I would like to invite Professor Beam Singh, SERB, National Science Chair, India, to take the honored seat at the stage. I would like to invite Professor Chris Mee, Distinguished Professor of Electrical and Computer Engineering, San Diego University, USA, to take the honored seat at the stage. I would like to invite Dr. Amit Gupta, Head of Rolls-Royce Electrical, Singapore, to take the honored seat at the stage. I would like to invite Professor Saad McAuliffe, Distinguished Professor, Swinburne University, Australia, to take the honored seat at the stage. I would like to invite Professor Maldan McLeod, Regents Professor, Texas A&M University, USA, to take the honored seat at the stage. I would like to invite Professor Kumar Venayagoma, Duke Energy Distinguished Professor, Power Engineering and Professor of Electrical and Computer Engineering, Clemson University, USA, to take the honored seat at the stage. Now I would like to invite Dr. Rabindranath Shaw, Conference Chair for IEEE IAS Global Conference on Renewable Energy and Hydrogen Technologies 2023, to welcome the guest with the Urtiyam. Chief guest, Dr. Ibrahim Nashid. Vice Chancellor, Dr. Muhammad Sharif. Honorable Minister, His Excellency Muhammad Aslam. Professor Ayman Al-Rafai. Honorable State Minister, Dr. Abdullah Rashid Ahmed. Professor Beam Singh. Professor Chris Mee. Dr. Amit Gupta. Professor Saad McAuliffe. Professor Maldan. Professor Kumar. We would now begin the ceremony with the recitation of the Holy Quran.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قد أفلح المؤمنون الذين هم في صلاتهم خاشعون والذين هم عن اللغو معرضون والذين هم للزكاة فاعلون والذين هم لفروجهم حافظون إلا على أزواجهم أو ما ملكت أيمانهم فإنهم غير ملومين فمن ابتغى وراء ذلك فأولئك هم العادون صدق الله العظيم.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The chief guest, Dr. Ibrahim Nasheed, Vice Chancellor Dr. Muhammad Sharif, Deputy Vice Chancellors, Honorable Minister, invitees, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning to you all. My name is Nasha Ahmed Naseem. It's my pleasant duty today to welcome you all to the IEEE IAS Global Conference on Renewable Energy and Hydrogen Technologies and to announce the order of proceeding of this event. A warm welcome to you all to this conference. We have begun our proceeding with the recitation of the Holy Quran recited by Muhammad Tasneem Rashid from Faculty of Sharia and Law. Thank you, Muhammad Tasneem Rashid. I now humbly request Vice Chancellor Dr. Muhammad Sharif to give the opening remarks. The Vice Chancellor, Dr. Muhammad Sharif.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and esteemed colleagues, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the Maldives National University for the Global Conference on Renewable Energy and Hydrogen Technologies. This conference is organized and funded by the IEEE Industry Application Society, USA, and technically supported by 8 top universities. We are proud to be hosting this important event at our university. I extend a warm welcome and my heartfelt gratitude to our chief guest, Dr. Ibrahim Nasheed, founder and chairman of Renewable Energy Maldives Private Limited, Honorable Minister of Housing, Minister of Planning, Housing and Infrastructure, Muhammad Aslam, the guest of honor, Dr. Amit Gupta, Professor Bhim Singh, Professor Chris Mee, Professor Mladen Kozovic, President-elect of IEEE Industry Application Society, and Professor Ayyam El Rafael, General Chair of this conference, Dr. Nishad Mendis, as well as to all the distinguished invitees, participants, and attendees joining us today. Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to you all. As we gather here, we are all aware of the significant challenges we face when it comes to energy. Climate change, environmental degradation, and resource depletion are just a few of these issues that we need to address. However, we also know that there are significant opportunities available to us if we can harness the power of renewable energy and hydrogen technologies. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the purpose of this conference is to provide an international forum for practicing engineers and academics to exchange cutting-edge research, innovations, share thought-provoking ideas, disseminate valued knowledge and experience, and discuss future directions on applications of emerging technologies in the field of engineering, and technology, with the focus on allied areas of the industry application society. By sharing technological knowledge and experience, the conference aims to contribute to the development, progress, and welfare of our societies at large, towards the global endeavor of promoting accessible and effective renewable energy for all. I want to emphasize the significance of renewable energy and sources of clean energy, such as hydrogen technology, wind, and solar energy. These areas are crucial for research, innovation, and application in the Maldives, a country that is over 90% sea, with the majority of the land mass less than 1 meter above mean sea level. Despite our current share of global greenhouse gas emissions being at 0.01%, we are ranked in the red zone of climate vulnerability, together with several other small island developing states. And this is an alarming state for a country to be in. As a result, the Maldives has committed itself to consider greener ways of living and energy consumption, with a target to reduce 26% of our emission by 2030, and to achieve net zero emissions by the same date. These targets are well aligned with the government's blue economy policy that prioritizes sustainable economic growth and safeguards our oceans, reefs, and wetlands. However, at present, the country's power sector is largely dependent on imported fossil fuel, mainly diesel, and the reported 10% of our GDP is spent on fossil fuel. Energy demands have grown exponentially over the past 3 to 4 decades and are expected to grow annually by 8.5%. At this rate, fossil fuel import and use are not sustainable for the country, both economically and environmentally. To achieve energy sovereignty and energy security in the country and realize our nationally determined contributions, NDCs, we need to diversify our energy resources through investing in renewable energy sources that will only reduce import dependency, but that will not only reduce import dependency, but be environmentally friendly and economically feasible. Our aim is to establish a 70% power generation capacity from renewable energy sources by 2030. To achieve this and reach our NDC's target, the government of Maldives recently outlined a roadmap for energy sector with 2 pathways: a base case scenario for business as usual and a paradigm shift scenario. It is this paradigm shift scenario that will bring about a fundamental transformational change to the country beyond the established targets. It is this paradigm shift that will have a meaningful impact on the energy metrics and result in the targeted reduction of fossil fuel consumption in the country. It is this scenario of paradigm shift that will require a consolidated and strengthened policy framework and a well-functioning financial scheme to bring about a nationwide transformation. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I will conclude by once again thanking the IEEE and IAS for partnering with MNU to host this conference. Thank you all. May Allah reward our collaborative research efforts and our collective endeavors to expand our knowledge horizons and our intellect to advance innovative solutions for the betterment of humanity. To quote the UN Secretary General, together let's jumpstart a renewable energy revolution and create a better future for all. Thank you and wassalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Vice Chancellor. I now respectfully request Professor Ayman Al-Rafai, President-elect of IEEE Industry Applications Society, USA, to give the welcome speech. Professor Ayman Al-Rafai.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I don't have prepared remarks, but I want to welcome all of you here to the conference. It's a great pleasure and honor at a personal level and on behalf of the Industry Application Society to be here in the Maldives. It's obviously the topic of the conference is very on spot. I mean, everybody now is worrying about clean and renewable energy, and it's one of the priorities of the IES to expand more and more globally. And having such an important conference in a place like the Maldives is a big statement about how the society is willing to reach and expand, not only be like North America focused. I'm personally very happy to visit the Maldives for the first time, and it's great to hear that the country is really committed to clean and renewable energy. And I would really like to thank all the organizers for the great facilities and for the great organization. And I hope that all of you are going to enjoy the conference, and all of us will get a chance to discuss and grow our knowledge. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Ayman. I now respectfully invite Professor Saad McAuliffe, Distinguished Professor, Swinburne University of Technology, Australia, to give the General Chair speech. Professor Saad McAuliffe.
Thank you very much, and very good morning to everyone. Like this Ayman mentioned just now, it's a great pleasure to be here in Maldives. My first time also in Maldives. Just to give you a brief overview on the conference, actually, when we started planning for the conference, we got the approval sometime in November, and we had me and what I call Nishad and Rabindra. We had a meeting and saying, is it possible to have a conference in March? And we got the approval from the IEEE in November, and it was very challenging. Rabindra, he doesn't know the limits, he doesn't know what I call the stop. So we went forward, and we decided to go on and organize a conference. And we were very surprised and happy to receive more than 400 submissions. That's a great achievement, which top conferences aim for that number. Yeah, I'm just saying over, so, and you can check that if the paper IDs. We didn't remove the paper ID submissions, it's still there. So that indicates the number of papers received, and then we remove the rejected papers. So in the end, we have accepted around 220 papers, which has been through a review process. We try to maintain the quality of the submissions. Also, over 300, around 35 countries, from 35 countries around the world. And the venue, Maldives. Why Maldives? So many people questioning Maldives. People want to go for holidays. Yes, why not? Conferences is about selecting a good place to visit, good food to enjoy, and good sessions to listen. We are not going like a APEC or ACCE. They put us in the worst place in the United States. You don't want to even visit, Yesterday we were talking about it, But we select a good place. Why not? We enjoy the Maldives, and we want to see the culture. We want to see people here. It's a great opportunity. And why this university in particular? We believe that sharing our knowledge and bringing experts from around the world to these small countries, small universities, will inspire researchers and motivate them. So this is one of our missions as scientists and researchers also. It's not to stick in MITs or Harvard or University of Melbourne or Monash or whatever. No, we will go to these small universities, small countries, where people are more in need to be inspired and to share our knowledge with people. I think that's very, very important. And I think the Vice Chancellor mentioned very important. Maldives is just barely 1 meter above the sea level. they are the most vulnerable countries around the world to climate change. And I think the topic of the conference addresses a very important issue, which we think as scientists have a major role to apply and help, because I don't believe politicians will be the right people to make decisions on the future generations. We, the scientists, are the one who's supposed to make the decisions, what is good for us. So I think that's all. I think, did I miss anything, Rabindra? Okay, I would like also to special thank to Rabindra, you know, the person behind the success of this conference. It's, I think him, you know, without reservations, I think he has done a tremendous work. And he has been following from the submissions to the approvals. And we receive, unfortunately, a lot of questions. We've been questions on why you have to organize this conference, why short time, why the pictures is not like this, why the pictures is not like that. But we believe in one thing: people who do works make mistakes. People who doesn't do anything, they will never make anything. So we choose the way of doing things and make mistakes and correct it and move forward. And you can see also the fees we charge for the conference. You will never find an IEEE conference with this such a registration fee, $150. It does not give you a lunch in a good restaurant in Melbourne. It doesn't give you a lunch. But we try to keep the costs as low as possible. Why? Because we want people, we want students to come and participate without any what you call financial constraints. You know, we know the researchers are under strength of financial constraints, so we want them to come and participate. We keep it very low. And it's a big challenge to keep the cost, the registration fee, at low and run the conference at this level. I think you know, conferences are charging $900, $800, $1,000, and then to access the tutorials, you have to add another $300. To add another paper, you add another $500. To another lunch, you have to add another $100. So you end up paying around $3,000 for attending a conference. I personally don't believe this is the right way of dissemination of knowledge. You know, so thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for submitting your papers and attending this conference. It's a pleasure to have you all here. And also take the opportunity to visit the beautiful Maldives. You know, we always hear about Maldives, you know, in the news, in TVs, in pictures. So this is the time for you, you know. Don't stay here. Take around the islands, do island hoppings, and enjoy the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Saad. I now respectfully invite Professor Kumar Venayagomorthy, Duke Energy Distinguished Professor, Power Engineering, and Professor of Electrical and Computer Engineering, Clemson University, USA. Professor Kumar.
Good morning to all of you. Once again, just like my colleagues mentioned, it's an honor to be invited to this meeting, and it is, again, my first time being in Maldives, and I bring you all greetings from my university, Clemson University in South Carolina, and of course the US. I'm going to be giving a keynote tomorrow, so I will focus on the theme of the conference, and hopefully you get to know what we are doing in my research lab. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Kumar. I now respectfully invite Dr. Amit Gupta, Head of Rolls-Royce Electrical Singapore, to deliver the guest speech. Dr. Amit Gupta.
So good morning, everybody. Good morning, distinguished guests, conference organizers, colleagues, friends, and students. I'm very happy to participate in this conference, which is on the renewable energy and hydrogen organized in Maldives at Maldives National University. I didn't have any idea about the university, so I was reading on the internet while coming here. So I was very impressed to see about 10,000 students and 11 faculties. That's quite good, and recently started the medicine as well. So it's quite very impressive, and many congratulations to you at Maldi University. Also, as our colleague said, I wouldn't imagine 400 papers, 500 papers is very impressive number for the IEEE conference. So once again, congratulations to the conference organizers and to all of you successfully coming here and participating, and 250 papers accepted here. So this conference is, once again, when I was invited, why did I participate? I could have chosen not to participate, but I think there is when I read the conference theme, it is about people from industry, academia, researcher to come together and contribute. So I thought I can come here and contribute here, make a difference here, meet all of you, tell you what do I do, so that we can increase the momentum on this topic. As just now Vice Chancellor mentioned this, and I was reflecting over it as I would imagine, I was thinking yesterday, how much fossil fuel consumption is here in Maldives, and how can we reduce it? And I didn't know that 1 meter above sea level is very important, a very important aspect. And then by 2030, 70% on the renewable is possible. One of the things I think you should consider floating solar. You have a lot of sea around you. You can do floating solar, and almost 70% or more than 70% target you can hit. The topics, the tracks in this conference are very, very relevant. I can speak from industry perspective. The tracks, we have grid integration challenges for renewable, very, very relevant topic. We were talking about storage, energy storage. If you talk about solar in this country, you need to think about energy storage first. That's a very, very relevant topic. The power electronics in general, whatever you talk electrification is all about power electronics. The hydrogen, I don't know whether in the shorter term you can consider hydrogen here, but in general as a community we can talk about hydrogen. It's very, very important topic. Different type of energy storage supply chain operational challenges. That talks about wind. I'm not sure how much wind is here, but solar is a great potential here. The discussion about the artificial intelligence, big data, IoT, blockchain, very, very relevant topic today. Without digitalization, in my company we say, if you don't do electrification, digital, there is no future. So these are two very important things that's what is happening here. So once again, so one more thing from industrial perspective, I can say whatever the conference theme we have here is very, very relevant to the industry. That is exactly, these are the exact topics we are working on. We are addressing some of the challenges in the company. So I hope we all, those who came to this conference as a professor, people from industry, academia, researcher, student, they will actively contribute. Don't take as of course, 2 days you focus on the conference. After that, you can talk about island hopping, so on and so forth. So I hope we can actively contribute to conference first and make it a success. And once again, congratulations to conference organizers to make it happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Amit. I now respectfully invite Professor Beam Singh, SERB, National Science Chair, India, to deliver the guest speech. Professor Beam Singh.
Well, thank you, Madam. And well, good morning to all of you, as well as good morning to all the dignitaries on the dais. Well, it's a very interesting conference, which Professor Saad and Professor Ravindra and Nisad really took right place. I mean, like, I think what Professor Saad said, it is correct that we have to look into for the research in the right direction, especially from IEEE and particularly, especially Industry Application Society, which is a link between the industry and academics. Like, finally, industry have to execute whatever the research we do for the humanities. And really, I mean, it's a really good place, which the organizer have selected it. I'm able to convince my wife also to come with me. Even she never go to the conference, even in Delhi with me, which Ravindra knows. But Ravindra this time selected probably the place. Okay, I'm able to convince my wife to come to Maldives and enjoy really seashore and the different places and enjoy the good meal of this place, and probably good scope for not only for the development but for the research like. So this is really, you can think about, we are in electrical engineering, how we make the humanity really good. And you have seen a many revolution from other technology also. We are implementing the technology. You have seen already the lighting system, how it is changed probably a decade. I mean, every place you look into the LED, I mean, which really came to only 10 to 12 watt in place of 100 watt bulb. So you are able to reduce the consumption only to 12% from 100 watt bulb. There is a similar technology for other appliances. If you talk about maybe the ceiling fan, which are in tropical country like Maldives and probably the India and China, all nearby Asian countries with big population, we hope we'll be able to reduce. Now in India, we have a fan with 25 watt. With the same, again, air delivery, what we used to have 82 watt. But we are hoping probably there will be some, because even for lighting system, it took 3 Nobel Prize to come to 12 watt. So we hope in fan also we'll be able to reduce probably within a 5 to 6 year to 12 watt ceiling fan also. I mean, typically, this also belongs to you like. And now when we talk about the next technology which are really struggling between the industry and academics or research, is your electric vehicle. Like. And I have delivered a lot of probably the lectures in different conferences and different platforms, and even to mechanical engineers. And they got scared while talking electric vehicle that you took our entire electric vehicle from automobile or from mechanical to electrical. I told we didn't take any part of yours, only what we replace it your 25% efficiency of internal combustion engine to 95% efficient of electric motors, and further 40 to 50% regeneration back to the battery, and which reduced to really the consumption to order of around 80 paisa per kilometer from around, I mean, or you can call it like a less than 1 rupee, Indian rupee, to from probably around 6 to 7 rupee, which you spend probably of a 1 mileage of 1 kilometer to travel like. So that's another technology you have to make community. Your electrical energy is not visible in the nature, it's not utilized in the finally also. So where are you? You are only in the wires. Nobody can see you except it gives the electric shock to the people. Okay? So you are responsible to get an efficient generation of it, which becomes day by day, we consider cheaper and cheaper. Like a solar has gone less than 2 rupee in India, but Middle East already 1 rupee per unit. I hope even the Maldives will also think in that direction. Typically, and it has gone big way, probably the most populated country like India and China, that we have to go very big way in solar also to reduce the cost of electricity. The important is that we reduce the cost of generation, probably maybe going to be 4 rupee to probably less than 1 rupee day by day. In spite the inflation is going up, and apart from that, we have to think about proper utilization of it to reduce the consumption day by day. And that is the job. Coming to another aspect, like the good researcher, I agree with Professor Saad that we have to look the places where the substantial scope for the really upcoming research in electrical engineering, especially again from the industry perspective, like Industry Application Society, from IEEE is really very committed to that. Young generation is very excited to it, to start with the typically around 4 to 5 page digest, which we don't have because of shortage of time in this conference, usually of industry application conference. The person is able to write couple of pages with some figures to 5 page. I mean, in first go, even they have a linguistic problem, and then again to translate it from 4 to 5 page to 6 pages of constant publication, and then following up to go to around 8 to 10 pages to final transaction of industry application, which many young researchers feel very excited by this training of 8 to 10 months or year to come up, yes, we can do research, or we can be also PhD, or we can be doctorate well within sorted period of time. So it ignites to the young researchers, and certainly if you really want to excite young researchers, it's a good place where there is a scope for sudden rise in the research as well as development or deployment of the technology, which really we think about. There is very substantial scope in Maldives, or I mean this country, where they were saying the whole electricity belongs to at the moment here, or energy belongs to on diesel, which can be easily converted to the renewable. I mean, for these couple of technology, whether it is the solar or it is a wind or it is typically the hydrogen, like also. Well, the conference is like a marriage. I have organized as a general chair probably few conferences in India, associated with probably, more than 25, 30 conferences. I appreciate the Ravindra effort. Not only start the marriage, we become very happy at the time of inauguration of such conferences. Yes, you collect a lot of people, you become tense. Professor Ravindra was very tense along with the Professor Saad this morning. That is very important, but the most important part is that after finishing the conference, how fast these papers go to IEEE Explorer, so that students get the good opportunity. So I have really appreciated, I think, among the more than 100 or 200 conferences in our area, that Professor Ravindra is able to probably put the conference paper to explore within a week or so. That I will extremely appreciate on conference organizers and the team of Professor Ravindra on this part. Like, I don't know, many of you, at least the young researchers certainly are very supportive of it. Like, well, it goes to his heart, and he appreciates, that's why he acts on it, like, also. So it's a very great opportunity to young researchers, and I found very, very young researchers. The average age of researcher sitting in this room today probably maybe not more than 30 years, because of course we are very old age people on this side of the dais, okay? But on the other side, I found as young as maybe 25 or 26 years old people also, very young people also for this conference, like, Of course, that's the cost is very important of the, and Professor Saad already mentioned the registration fees. Of course, we normally generate the revenue from the sponsorship. I don't know how much sponsorship came for this conference, but there is a good scope, especially in developing country where industry come forward or government organization come forward to support the conference. And I hope here the university, if we put the conference in university, certainly it's reasonably cost effective. So I would like to certainly thank to the university also who hosted this conference, like, And of course, Professor Ravindra is very active, and Professor Saad is also very active to look into the fill in the blanks in the place where you really have a good opportunity to really, people love to come and enjoy the place in all respect or so. And well, what to say, IEEE, we feel, is doing good job along with especially Industry Application Society. And now we are able to touch the nerve of the right society for the right conference in this region, especially the Asian region. And I think we have a lot of conferences for opportunity for the young people, like, So again, I thanks the organizer to give me a time slot as well as this opportunity to come to this conference and share my thought. Thank you very much. And again, good morning to all of you.
Thank you, Professor Beam. I now respectfully invite Professor Chris Mai, Distinguished Professor of Electrical and Computer Engineering, San Diego State University, USA, to deliver the guest speech. Professor Chris Mai.
Thank you very much, distinguished guests, organizers, and students. Good morning. It's such a great pleasure to be here at Maldives, and I didn't realize that well, unfortunately, I never heard about Maldives about 20 years ago when I first heard about it. In terms of population, this is a very tiny country. But if you look at the global environmental impact that we have on this country, is phenomenal. And I was told that some time ago that if we don't conserve energy, if we don't move on to renewables, the sea level is going to rise around 20 to 30 centimeters every decade. And if that happens, you can imagine that because Maldives mostly around 1 meter above sea level, and then many of these islands will disappear in the next 30 to 50 years. That's very sad. So that's why such a conference here is so important, where we can address the issues right on the spot. So it's really a great pleasure to be here, and I want to thank the organizers for such a wonderful conference, such a wonderful submissions, and also for the hospitality that we have received since I came here. Thank you all, and enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Chris. I now respectfully invite Professor Maldan Kaznoik, Regents Professor, Texas A&M University, USA, to deliver the guest speech. Professor Maldan.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. Never been here before. I attended I don't know how many hundreds of conferences in the past, and so one more here is a special treat for me. Now, I want to share with you something that is kind of on my mind all the time, lately particularly. And that is that we're going through the transformational change in the power systems that are equivalent of what has happened when the power system was invented. A lot of people don't perhaps realize how profound this change is. And it's in all aspects, from control to data analytics to social behavioral sciences associated with it, every single aspect. And what is different now is that the considerations we have in front of us were not the considerations necessarily, all of them anyway, that we had at the time when the system was invented. And therefore, there are challenges how to deal with totally new requirements. Secondly, the system that we had and developed has to stay. We cannot drop this system through the window and say we're going to do now something different. Therefore, the integration portion of how we're going to do all of these renewables and everything else with the existing system that was not necessarily developed to support all of these things, think about it. All of the controls, energy management system, distribution management system, maintenance systems, whatever it is in the infrastructure of the utilities alone has to change. Those are hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars per company that were invented over time that have to change. And so therefore, because of the integration. So, coming to the point, having a conferences like this one in various parts of the world, drawing as many people as came to this conference is extremely important, because we need to draw the talent from every corner of the world to solve this huge challenge in front of us. And so therefore, I congratulate you all, whoever was involved in this. I thank you, of course, for inviting me. And I congratulate to all of you that had papers and had enough interest to come. And I look forward to a very exciting event. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Maldan. I now respectfully invite Minister of State for Education, Dr. Abdullah Rashid Ahmed, to address the audience. Dr. Abdullah Rashid Ahmed.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Chief guest of the opening ceremony, Dr. Ibrahim Nasheed, Minister Aslam, and other professors, also Vice Chancellor of Maldives National University, Japanese Ambassador to Maldives, and Pakistan High Commissioner to Maldives, and all other distinguished speakers, and of course my friend Dr. Rabindra. Assalamu alaikum and very good morning. I am really pleased to be here in this morning. Last year, somewhere in September, Dr. Rabindra called me and he expressed his interest to conduct a conference in the Maldives. We met in India before, so we know each other. So I told him that would be a very good idea. Then we discussed the ways to conduct this conference in the Maldives, different options. Then in later, he said MNU. So I also told him MNU would be one of the best option. Then I found that a very good marriage between Dr. Rabindra and MNU. So I was passively looking the progress. It was going very well. And last evening, Dr. Rabindra told how things have been arranged. He said everything organized so well. Thank you, Vice Chancellor, Deputy Vice Chancellors, and everyone involved in making this conference to a great success. I'm sure this conference is a very historical conference to Maldives. Mostly the conference held in the Maldives are social science conferences. But this conference is very different, especially very important themes like renewable energy, and this is very important. We, the Maldives, our major industries are depending on our environment, like our fisheries industry and tourism industry. Therefore, more than any country, we, the Maldivian, should think about our environment. And our President Ibrahim Muhammad Saleh gave a lot of emphasis on protecting our environment. We are happy to see the largest renewable energy project is in progress. I hope before you leave, you would be able to see this project. As I'm related to education sector, let me tell you, in education, we are trying to make green education, making green education as part of our education system. 2 years before, we have started a concept called Fehi Madarasa, meaning that green schools. So now we are in the second year of piloting this concept. Because ESD 2030, Education for Sustainable Development 2030, is very important. More than that, last year, 19th September, the World Leaders Summit was held in New York. In this summit, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres present his interest in transforming education. When transforming education, greening education is very important. Therefore, this conference, the outcome of this conference, the knowledge we all and everyone will get is very, very important. Without taking much time, I would like to welcome all our international guests to the sunny side of life. I'm sure you all will enjoy your stay in Maldives, and this conference will be a great success. I wish you all a very good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Abdullah Rashid Ahmed. I now respectfully invite Honorable Minister of National Planning, Housing and Infrastructure, His Excellency Muhammad Aslam. His Excellency Muhammad Aslam.
Good morning. Well, thank you very much for the invitation. I think I'm in a crowd where I can disagree with some of you. That's what scientists thrive on. You disagree with each other. You argue with each other. And then you have finally something that you agree on. But I'm very glad that such a conference is happening here in the Maldives. And I'm very glad to hear that you consciously decided to do this here in the Maldives. Just a few days back, I was in Doha attending a conference on the least developed countries, and there was one session which talks about science and technology and development. Sharing, the new scientific knowledge and technological advancements to the global south. I made an intervention there. And what I said was, look, I am not entirely optimistic about the way things are happening. Technology is, it seems like the least developing countries and the developing countries are chasing behind new technologies. It's developed in the developing countries, and we keep chasing behind that. We're not equal partners in this. So the fact that you decided to do it here in the Maldives, I get a signal that, you're seeing us as equals. So, share the knowledge, do this together. For that, I agree with you. What I disagree with you is this: the pilots don't build the flights. An engineer builds it. but the pilots fly it. And they are glorified. So the scientists do make inventions. Unfortunately, people like me make decisions. So we have to be convinced of the knowledge you produce, what you give to us. So let me get to the point of the subject of your conference. I am a hybrid politician. A little bit of scientific background in me, not in renewable energy, and I'm a politician. Renewable energy has been, there for many, many years, many centuries, some of these technologies. 1950s, early 50s, photovoltaic came. The Germans decided to do something, that was the politicians who made a decision in 2020 to go big with renewables, which created a market. Then China brought down the prices. So it's a global effort. But yet, still so much of hope. It is, in the energy sector, very insignificant. Something is missing. Something is missing. It's still not happening. You're not being able to compete with the old technology. That bridge needs to be made. Of course, the prices of producing solar photovoltaic, has come down dramatically. Much less than $1 now. But, most renewable energy has its inherent issues. We have to overcome those things. We have to combine few technologies together to do this. And of course, storage of power is, the main subject that we need to address. So I've been hearing a lot about hydrogen fuel, hydrogen cells. Read a bit about it. I was very, kind of excited when I heard all of this. It was, there's new technology that's coming that is going to make, energy storage very efficient, and this clean fuel, hydrogen. Very excited about it. So read a little bit about it. And when I got deep into it, it wasn't all well. There are still a lot of issues to be resolved. And I understood all hydrogen is not green. There's a big spectrum from gray to green, And they talk about, So, okay. And it was also very interesting because when I started reading it, this was the very first lesson in science when I was in, my later years in primary school that really got me into that, the interest of science. Electrolysis. It was a fascinating thing, Just get a battery and then, have 2 electrodes, put it into in water and then put something that would make the, So I used to do experiments with lots of, what do you add? And even funny things I added into that, that beaker. So it was an interesting thing. Anyway, so got into that, and I understand you have issues. You have issues with hydrogen still. You need to come up, with solutions for that. You need to tell us. I mean, initially when I heard about it, I was very excited. But when I read about it, I see still issues with it. 99% of the hydrogen produced is not clean. It has a much bigger greenhouse gas footprint than, anything else. You could simply burn methane and produce more energy and less, greenhouse gas, then produce this hydrogen, this gray or, blue or whatever, spectrum you call it. You could still do better unless you can produce green hydrogen. So, I mean, there are efficiency issues with that. And then talking about hydrogen cells. One of the things that I read was, I hope I'm going to get answers with, to these questions, somewhere down the line, maybe not in this conference, but somebody like me will have to be convinced that this is really something that I should be excited about and the country should invest in it. The cells, the raw material used for that. I understand you use, two very rare earth metals in it, which makes the cells very expensive. There's a long way for you to go. We haven't given up the hope. Of course, renewable has a future. And there is a future. Solve the problems, come, convince us, we will create a market for you. Unless we create a market for you, unless we create a market for the technology, it's not going to take off. It's not going to take off. Technology may be best, top-notch, unless we can create a market for it, unless you can convince the decision makers, unless you can convince the business community, unless the consumers find it to be cheaper and attractive and reliable, it's not going to take off. Many technologies have been, Tesla tried to transmit electricity wireless. I understand theoretically it's possible, but it's not practical. So please find practical solutions. Have a good conference, debate, disagree with people like me, ultimately convince us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Next on the agenda is the awarding of the Lifetime Achievement Award. I would like to humbly request the chief guest, Dr. Ibrahim Nasheed, founder and chairman of Renewable Energy Maldives Private Limited, to do the honor. Laxminder Behera, Director, Indian Institute of Technology, Mahinder Global Lifetime Achievement Award. Thank you, Dr. Ibrahim Nasheed. Next, I would humbly request Vice Chancellor Dr. Muhammad Sharif to do the honors. B.K. Mishra, Director, Indian Institute of Technology, IIT Goa, Global Lifetime Achievement Award. Thank you, Dr. Muhammad Sharif. I would now humbly request Honorable Minister of National Planning, Housing and Infrastructure, His Excellency Muhammad Aslam, to do the honors. M.P. Pandey, Director of MNIT Jaipur, Global Lifetime Achievement Award. Thank you, Your Excellency. Next, I would humbly like to request Professor Ayman Al-Rafai, President-elect of IEEE Industry Applications Society USA, to do the honors. Greg Elkin, Managing Director, Global Power Energy Australia, Global Sustainable Development Award. Thank you. Now I would like to invite Minister of State for Education, Dr. Abdullah Ahmed Rashid, to do the honors. Said Islam. Professor Said Islam. Thank you, Dr. Abdullah Rashid. I now respectfully invite the chief guest, Dr. Ibrahim Nasheed, founder and chairman of Renewable Energy Maldives Private Limited, to address the audience. Dr. Ibrahim Nasheed.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity, and good morning and welcome, everybody. I also came prepared with something written, but with everybody's talk, I think I can't use that, or I don't want to use it. But anyway, when we started the Renewable Energy Maldives as a company, our aim was to try and reduce, as a private company, how could we reduce the reliance of the Maldives on fossil fuel or imported fossil fuel for its energy needs. We always thought this was an over-reliance, and at the same time, we thought there is ample energy in the Maldives for all our needs, and even perhaps for export, if there ever was the case. Yeah. With that thing we started, and at that time, the Maldives was importing something like 450,000 metric tons of diesel, and 90% for power generation, and that was about 25% of our GDP at that time. That was more than what we were spending on education, health, together on that. But at the same time, we had the energy. We had the resources. We were looking elsewhere to be quick, to develop faster. But we realized that this in itself is what is keeping us behind the cost of this energy. We were paying extreme amounts of as a development cost. Yeah? And then when we introduced solar PV, we started with solar PV, grid-connected solar PV about 15 years ago. And now it has become popular and it has gained acceptance. And more importantly, the commercial sector has gained acceptance. And actually, the interesting thing I found was that, as I say, there's a silver lining in every cloud, COVID. What really pushed the Maldives, I would say, into renewables. So it's going to push the Maldives into renewables. We had solar, as an IPP, we were providing renewable power to the utility. And during COVID, we didn't have any worries. No stoppage, nothing. It ran as usual. So that gave the confidence to the utility. And now we're talking about floating solar farms, microgrids and interconnection networks of the resorts and the islands. And again, here the private sector's involvement is important. And what has happened is the government has invested in solar and made it popular, but that goes to the local, the government sector, which in the Maldives is very little in terms of energy consumption. 90% of the energy is consumed by the resorts. And that's where the fuel consumption lies, about something like 6,000, 7,000 liters of diesel per day for a 100-room resort. And the interesting thing is the 70% of this energy is used for comfort cooling. So we have the energy, we have the resources. And it's just a means, it's just a mindset to look for this. Solar PV became popular, and then obviously with any introduction there are issues, there is acceptance. We have to overcome many, many problems. And now that the resorts and the commercial enterprises are interested, they don't have the space. The resorts initially I remember in 2007, 2008, aesthetics was a big issue. Solar is dirty, you can't take nice pictures. Now it's the other way around. Without solar, the pictures are not nice. So it has come, it will go the full way. Yeah. So now it is accepted the resorts do not have space. So now what we are seeing, the combination, the local islands have space, they don't have aesthetic issues, they also have the lagoon space. And this allows us to interconnect. And initially before, I mean again with solar provided or showed in the Maldives that power generation is simple. There's no maintenance, we are lazy, it's just leave it on the roof and forget about it. That is the kind of technology we were waiting for, and that has come. And so that is really, now what we have the confidence in that, and now we can build bigger systems. We are talking about multi-megawatt parks in the sea. We are in design stages of 4 such parks at the moment, and I'm talking interconnection of 2 islands as a development project. We hope to finish these by the end of this year, and some by the middle of next year. We are talking about renewable water resources. We don't have any water resources, so RO plants run on solar and battery storage are in the pipeline, and one is going to be built by November or so this year. And that is enough for a resort. That was the other question, would you get enough? But all of these are power issues, stationary power. The problem with the Maldives is, you know, island hopping. I mean, it's a nice idea, perfect for holidays. Try shifting a module. That way, when it is monsoon, high seas, no. The biggest single cost factor in any development project in the Maldives is transport. I get asked many times how much is a kilowatt in the south, in Addu, how much is, and first question I have to ask is where are you going to install it? I can give you the same price if you take it. The single biggest cost, the issue is connectivity and mobility. If we can reduce the cost of these two, then we will be on a development course, which I believe, you know, all these islands have a similar energy structure or requirement and a resource structure like, say, St. Moritz in Switzerland. Not many people. The same thing, they live on tourism. They have a more difficult time living on tourism. They can only use the snow for about 9 months a year. What are they going to do when there's no snow? We don't have that issue, but we have the resources. And we can afford that, provide that luxury with renewable resources. They're spending 70% on comfort cooling. They like to sit on the beach and then cool and then look at deep sea cooling. Ocean thermal is available here. We have done studies to cool the airport terminal building at the Hulud airport. We had a study and it is viable. Ocean thermal is competitive here and doable here. The politics have to realign with everything. The technology is there. Then the main issue, the other issue is the way we were thinking is the hydrogen. The hydrogen has to come here and provide cheaper transport. We tried solar powered boats, we don't get the speed. We know what happened in a paradigm shift in transport and you make communication in the Maldives when the Japanese company Yamaha installed the diesels. That changed the whole fishing complex, everything. Now we want hydrogen transport, we want onboard ice on the fishing boats, and we want to move from one island. We don't want to stay stuck on the island during monsoon because of lack of petrol. This has happened, but this is possible. With IEEE, I was so glad when Dr. Sharif asked me, actually I was looking for an excuse, what should I do on this Saturday? The other option was go and build an incinerator on somewhere else, so I could say no to them. We were looking at the hydrogen issue here. The main thing here that we need to be, we have started 2 projects that later on will become hydrogen production plants with solar power. With IEEE coming in, all the papers I've looked at are so relevant. Every single paper on this conference is relevant to the Maldives. Is what we are doing today. We are dispatching. We need programs, how we're going to dispatch. If you look at even Mali, in another 5 years, what is going to be? We're going to supply renewable solar PV from the eastern end to a network of maybe 200 megawatts, and a waste-to-energy plant coming from steam on the other end. Probably diesels on the other side as well. And so there is a combination. We need to manage all of these. And all the papers here are relevant. The other thing that worries us is what are the effects of producing hydrogen? We don't have water. We have to make water. So obviously, is there a way from seawater? Yes. There must be a way from seawater. So I'm very excited about reading about all of these seawater, hydrogen and everything. And everybody says, what about the chlorine? So IEEE perhaps can have the next year's conference here. Find out what we're going to do with the chlorine. We need a lot of chlorine in these swimming pools for the luxury resorts. Perhaps Maldives can use the chlorine and the hydrogen. So IEEE, yes, please. Can we have more of you, more conferences? And this is what we need. And I found out from the Chancellor that there's no membership of IEEE at the MNU. And what we are suggesting is, as from a private sector, from the energy sector, which is what we would like to create here, we are willing to take part, we are willing to join in, maybe perhaps 50% of the funding we could come in with, we can raise the funding. And get IEEE here in the Maldives. There are research opportunities or experimental opportunities, small and large projects. All the projects are economically viable. Even the demo 1 megawatt OTEC plant is doable here. It's viable. It is, I mean, we are importing diesel. Imported diesel is about 50 cents per kilowatt hour. Everything is competitive. Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Ibrahim Nasheed. I now respectfully invite Dr. Rabindranath Shaw, Conference Chair, IEEE IAS Global Conference on Renewable Energy and Hydrogen Technologies 2023, to hand over the mementos and Uttri. So, Japanese Ambassador to the Maldives, Her Excellency Ambassador Takachi Midori. Pakistan High Commissioner to the Maldives, His Excellency Vice Admiral, retired, Mohammad Fayaz Gilani. The chief guest, Dr. Ibrahim Nasheed, founder and chairman of Renewable Energy Maldives. Vice Chancellor Dr. Muhammad Sharif, the Maldives National University. Honorable Minister of National Planning, Housing and Infrastructure, His Excellency Muhammad Aslam. Professor Ayman Al-Rafai, President-elect of IEEE Industry Application Society, USA. Minister of State for Education, Dr. Abdullah Rashid Ahmed. Professor Beam Singh, SERB, National Science Chair, India. Professor Chris Mee, Distinguished Professor of Electrical and Computer Engineering, San Diego State University, USA. Dr. Amit Gupta, Head of Rolls-Royce Electrical, Singapore. Professor Saad McAuliffe, Distinguished Professor, Swinburne University of Technology, Australia. Professor Maldan Kesnoik, Regents Professor, Texas A&M University, USA. Professor Kumar Venayagamurthy, Duke Energy Distinguished Professor, Power Engineering and Professor of Electrical and Computer Engineering, Clemson University, USA. Thank you, Dr. Rabinder. I would now like to request the chief guest, Dr. Ibrahim Nasheed, to award certificates. NP Pandey, Global Lifetime Achievement Award. Paddy. BK Mishra. BK Mishra Lifetime Achievement Award. Laxmander Behera Global Lifetime Achievement Award. This one. Yeah. Greg Elkins Global Power Global Sustainable Development Award. Thank you. Professor Saeed Islam, Global Sustainable Development Award. Thank you, Dr. Ibrahim. This brings us to the close of this event. Thank you all for your presence. During this break, refreshment is served outside within the premises. We will start the sessions of the conference at 11:15, and we respectfully request you to be there by then. Thank you all very much, and I wish you all a fruitful conference and a pleasant day.